Huh. Are we live?
We are live.
Oh, live with the boy Ghost. My man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Blaine. How about you?
I'm good. It's been a couple weeks, dude, and I hadn't been able to talk to you. So, first of all, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're chatting with me. We're going to be talking about Toegate today because Toegate's where it's at. I can't be as boisterous and loud today because I'm actually in the kitchen because my wife is ready to go to sleep because it's been a long week of ending school. That said, we are going to talk about Sean O'Malley and Merab, but we're also going to talk about this weird and funky, me and Ghost have differing opinions of it, upcoming UFC card, all that and more. But first, I'm going to give the over to Ghost. And Ghost, go ahead and do your what are the lawyers call it? Like defense or your prosecution?
Oh, on Merab versus Sean, whether I think
Just in
Sean
general, man.
deserves
What
it.
you been working on, dude?
Oh, what I've been working on. So I'm actually rotoscoping a video of a full fight. So that's coming in the works. It's over 500 frames, so it's been taking me a while. So
So
make sure to
wait,
watch out for that.
a full fight, as in like
As in
a full fight?
like 20 seconds of a full fight. Like a fight that ended in like 20 seconds.
I was about
And
to
I've
say
added
that.
video replay, so it's gonna be like, so the animation is gonna be like 2 minutes long.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's
yeah,
wild.
I've been working on that. Some scouting stuff for a couple of people, which I'm not gonna name here, and yeah, and getting like I just published a new Substack article called "The Variations of the Jab." So make sure you guys check that out in the link in the description.
Oh, I didn't know that was out.
Yeah, so yeah, check that out because it shows a lot of jab variations and how to use them and how to drill them.
I got to. I'm be honest with you. I don't punch, but I do need to learn how to jab because that's the basis of a good fight. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Merab, man, because he posted a video or a picture today or a video, whatever, of his pinky toe broken, and he said, "I'm gonna cut it off." We've seen fighters fight with broken toes before. We've seen, Alex Pereira pull out or Alex Pereira, Conor McGregor pull out with a broken toe, and Alex Pereira come in to save the day with a broken toe. We've seen John Jones finish, Chael Sonnen with a broken toe. Otherwise, he was going to lose the fight. But for the most part, like broken toes are bad, especially when you have to kick. We saw the video, it's broken. I mean, does that give you any concern for this upcoming fight with Sean O'Malley? Like, I wasn't excited for it. I was kind of like, okay, we'll do this again because I always assumed that Sean O'Malley would get the fight again without having to do anything. But like, do you think that this has a big something big to do with the fight? Do you think it's a big X factor?
The broken toe for Merab, I mean, it's his pinky toe, so he doesn't really push off of it. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, Connor couldn't handle it, which is hilarious. But I guess for Merab, I mean, it's just a pinky toe, and fighters knowing, like, I've been in the PI before, I've seen like what fighters go through. Like, this is not that serious.
No, everybody's making a big deal about it. So the fight, I mean, that's our next pay-per-view, and like these upcoming fight cards are not very good, dude. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about the pay-per-view coming up because like that's the big fight card, and it's not even that good itself. Honestly, the main event's good.
Yeah, I mean,
ish, yeah, it's good ish. But everybody seems to be hanging their arguments on that fifth round of Sean O'Malley, or the last 30 seconds of the fight of Sean O'Malley, where he kind of took over the fight and hurt Merab to the stomach with the push kick and stuff. Do you buy it? Because I kind of don't, dude.
You don't buy it?
No, I don't buy it at all.
So yeah, so hurting Merab with a push kick. I am thinking that he should actually go with more push kicks because if you notice what Merab has been doing lately is he hasn't like this is from Ben Cohn from BJJ Oversimplified. He actually hasn't been pressuring much. And if you look at that first Merab O'Malley fight,
Mhm.
he's circling around and then waiting for Sean to throw his right hand, and then he can do a react double. And
Right.
if that's not working, if he doesn't get in on the initial shot, he'll just push him towards the fence. But what Sean found in the 5th round, and I think he should do this more, is front kick, because front kick, more specifically when Merab starts to circle and square his stance, because he's really open to that when he does circle. So I think that's a
Right.
good idea for Sean. Front kick when Merab starts to circle, because Merab isn't actually going forward the entire time as most people think.
Right. So, well, I think what I meant there was like, do you think this fight's going to be any different than
Oh,
the first one? You know, because everybody seems to think, oh, Sean figured him out in that 5th round, he's going to win. No, like, I don't know if I believe that fight's going to be that much different after watching that fight again. I've watched it twice since the original fight, and like, I don't know if it's that big of a difference. Like, I don't know if Sean can keep it up under Merab's pressure, because even if like he does manage to, um, you know, hurt Merab to the body, like I don't have any reason to believe that Merab wouldn't either eat it because he's incredibly tough, or B, start to circle the other way, or do something else. You pressure and start leaning on him like he did with Aldo. Yeah, do you think that'll be any different style of fight? Do you think Sean O'Malley can do anything that affects him?
if anything, I think it might be even less volume coming from both of them, because they already know what to expect, right? And even in
Right.
that 5th round, that wasn't a lot of volume from Sean. It was just a bunch of hard front kicks landing when Merab was circling. And I think that it's going to be a little bit more cagey than the first fight, because the game plan looked like it was clear from Merab. He's just trying to draw Sean in, because Sean isn't that good at. Well, I mean, in the Cheeto fight, he did a lot of volume, but in this fight, he's more worried about the takedown, so he's gonna have to punch the body more, which he kind of did. But again, I don't think the volume is gonna be there like he had with Cheeto.
Right. And Cheeto kind of opens up the kind of a fight where Sean O'Malley can pour on that kind of volume. He's not Merab, who's constantly going to be in his face and give him trouble the entire time. I think that's one of the things that's going to separate Merab from like the Cheeto Vera type fight. I really don't know, man, because like Umar doesn't have the same kind of kicks as O'Malley does, but like Merab handled that well, so I don't think he's really bad off with the kick game, especially with somebody like Aljamain Sterling as his training partner. Somebody who likes to kick.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because Umar and Sean's kicking games are, like you said, they're completely different. Sean's is more like minimalist. It's more like just front kicks to set up the stance switch and then eventually get the open side counter. Whereas Umar is just throwing that kick so the person comes in and he can get the takedown.
Right.
Which I guess that kind of works that's kind of a good stylistic thing for Merab. But for Sean, it should be easier for Sean to land those front kicks and apply those front kicks, because like you said, Merab's probably not going to pressure as much. But I will say this though. If Merab does come in like with his telegraphed blitzes, Sean should look for collar tie knees.
Yeah. But Merab, he really does love that knee tap, man. That overhand right to a knee tap. That's one of the things he loves. And Sean had that sniffed out in the first fight. Merab didn't really get much success off the knee tap. Now that doesn't negate his chain wrestling going from there, but still, like it's one of those things. Like the guy's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of the comments. I can't actually put them up here for some reason.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. I've been wanting to have a comment.
Yeah. So we got Forward Grappling in the chat saying, I don't know why I thought Ghost was from China. Bro sounds like he's from Philadelphia. Dude, I'm from California.
Close. At least he's on the right side of the
Close
hemisphere.
enough, dude. Close enough.
This is in the right
And
hemisphere, finally.
we got Remy. Remy from Twitter and Blue Sky, the seafood.
Rendo.
You know who Remy is, right? He's the one that
I
posts
believe I know
the cool
Remy.
photos of the sea and the ocean.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think
Yeah.
I do. I'm gonna have to go find Remy.
Oh, and then we got James in the chat, PYN boy saying hi.
What's up, y'all? This is my wife.
Oh,
She's
hello.
wants to
Nice to
be
meet
in
you.
the videos, of course.
And then we got Rio, who's another PYN regular. He says, should Merab pressure though? That is a good question. I think he should, like, methodically pressure. Like, not the pressure that he does where he just tries to go at people at 100%, but like slowly push Sean towards the cage pressure. I think he should do that. What do you think?
I think Merab's dead to water if he doesn't pressure. Honestly, he's not going to outbox Sean O'Malley from like range. Like that's not going to happen. But then again, we've seen like wilder things happen. You know, we watched Bilal Muhammad outbox Leon Edwards, and it's like that's not how Bilal Muhammad wins fights, but that's how he wins fights. Yeah, I don't know if the exact same game plan is going to work, but it's going to look by and large the same. I mean,
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley's a very good fighter, but if we're being honest, he hasn't changed all that much since he got into the UFC, except for the fact that he has a much simpler approach to fighting. Like he kind of has the whole Canelo thing to where Canelo used to be this dynamic fighter who can fight from anywhere. Now he's just looking for a couple different combos to make himself, he's just looking for the simple things. And I mean, I get that simplicity works, but at the same time, it's like, that's not going to get you against somebody who just wants to be in your face the whole time. And that's what Merab's whole game's predicated upon, is being in his face. And Sean O'Malley crumbled last time under that.
Yeah, but the thing with if you looked at the last fight, he wasn't like Merab was circling a lot. I don't know if you remember that. He was circling a lot, and he was waiting for Sean to throw at his head, which was weird to watch, honestly. Like I thought it was an interesting game plan, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was the like. I didn't. It was definitely weird for me watching that, because usually what Merab does is like he'll pump out like one or two combos, like in air, and then he'll dive to your legs, and then the guy will shuck him off, and then he'll do it again, and then eventually he wears him down. With Sean, I think he just needs to stay off the fence, right? If he can stay off the fence, poke him with front kicks, he might actually do well against Merab the second time. But that's going to take a lot of discipline.
I don't know if Merab's. I'm not Merab. I'm sorry. I don't know if Sean O'Malley's that disciplined, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got discipline questions about Sean O'Malley. I don't think. And then again, though, that loss might because he knows he fully lost. No, he's gonna go the whole 1-3 whatever rounds he says, but he knows he lost that fight. Like that might drive him to be a better fighter. That's one thing that you can really see. And I guess we can kind of pivot to the next key pivot because they don't work. Pivots don't work, guys. Don't try them. You'll get leg kicked automatically. But what I think is an interesting. I hadn't been thinking about this very long, but I've been obsessed over it since me and Ghost kind of said, "Hey, what are we talking about today?" What can Sean O'Malley learn from Jack Della Maddalena? And like I said, we hadn't thought about this too much, but like Ghost, you got an eye for this kind of stuff too. Do you think there's anything from Jack Della's performance against Bilal that Sean O'Malley can kind of look to and say, "Hey, I like that. Maybe we can pick that up against this guy who volumes and likes to circle"?
So yeah, two things. I think the head block and the rhythmic jab. So with Jack's performance, he would throw two jabs like in the same rhythm, and then when Bilal would come in, he would throw like a half beat jab, And I think that would give Merab some problems if he starts to blitz in. Like, because what Merab found out in the first fight was it's easy to time Sean when he throws his rear hand. So I think Sean being active with his jab and active with his weaves and his slips can really make Merab like make Merab hard to find his entry. Like it'll make Merab like find different entries which he won't be used to, since that's not his A game. His A game is to find your entry and then find another entry, then find the same entry and then recycle that until the guy gets tired.
Just trying to wear you down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you think about that? Like using your Sean using his lead hand more, but in different rhythms.
Yeah, and I think Sean can easily adapt different rhythmic attacks. I think that's something that's really relatively plug and play. Just drill it for a few months, especially somebody like Sean O'Malley, who's really good at striking. Like, let's be real, like he's really a really good striker. But what I think is even more interesting is the fact that Sean O'Malley really likes that cross off his back foot, and he likes to walk people onto it. And he does it in a straight line every single time. And like in a finite arena, Joe Rogan wants to fight on a football field, which I think is ridiculous. But like in a finite place, you run out of space, and Merab counts on that. He bets on you running into the fence, especially when you're like Sean O'Malley, and you like to run back and try and snipe people with that right hand, like he did to Sterling and countless other people. What I think he could look at from Jack Della is kind of just the V step and exiting at an angle. That way Merab is steady, like whiffing, kind of like Bilal did. Bilal has a decent set of boxing hands. He looked okay. But Jack Della just made him look elementary, rudimentary, not very good. Because he just, Bilal Muhammad's not there to he's there to follow you around in striking exchanges, as opposed to when he pressures, he likes to cut off the cage. I think if Sean O'Malley kind of looks at this type of performance against somebody who wants to push you to the fence and then start to, work on you, like he can really reap a lot more benefits there, as opposed to just putting on a singlet and practicing wrestling every day. Like he's never going to be as good of a grappler as Merab Dvalishvili is. Merab was born in a grappling world, whereas Sean O'Malley, born in an American world, and he's kind of, picked this up later in life. So I think if he can really focus in on his strengths, and if you really focus in on those strengths, I think he'll find a lot more success in this fight and make it a lot closer. I'm still picking Merab, but like I think there's precedence there for a Sean O'Malley win, especially after what we just saw from Jack Della Maddalena.
Oh, I think this is a good point by our boy Remy. I know this is kind of tongue in cheek, but he says throw an uppercut and a body shot. So let's kind of build on that a little bit. So like you said, Sean likes to fade back and cross and counter, right, to the open side mainly. Well, what about fade back and uppercut to the body? Two ideas in one. Because as you know, Merab's entry is just like it's level change, pump hands, and then actual level change. So maybe that, and usually when he does level change, he does something that Bilal does, and he switches to the opposite stance. So maybe instead of aiming for the head, he does an uppercut to the body where he'll already have an underhook.
Not only that, but that'll discourage the takedown too, because like, oh, he's throwing an uppercut. Like I got to make sure I stay out of the way of this thing, So that takes away that side for Merab to shoot to, and now Sean O'Malley knows, hey, he has to go to the opposite side. Otherwise, I'll eat him with the uppercut, and he knows that, so he's not going to shoot to that side. So that kind of takes away another weapon from Merab. I like that, actually. That's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. And for Sean, I think what's weird about the first fight is that it shows that Sean isn't that good at leading, if you really think about it, because he needs the guy to be coming forward at a high rate, right? because
Yeah.
that's what lost Aljo the first, or that's what lost Aljo when he first won
Mm-hmm.
the belt. So yeah, I think that fade back uppercut to the body might actually force Merab to like stand back a little bit more. But the problem is Sean's gonna have to lead after that, which I don't know if he can actually do. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit. This is a question from Jin Karasu, who's a PYN regular. Um, if Sean wins, is it bad for the sport?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think Merab's worse for the sport than Sean O'Malley, actually. Even though Sean's like really kind of a scummy guy, let's be real, he is. But UFC's lacking stars, and Sean O'Malley can be a star. He's shown his inability to become a star because he's incredibly unlikable. But the dude has highlight tapes. But then again, like Merab has the good kind of highlight tapes that you want out of a wrestler, like him throwing Umar to the ground and pointing at him. Like that's kind of cool, and people like that. But he didn't get finishes, and eventually people are going to get wise to that and be like, nah, Merab, he's fun, but, you're going to be in for all 5 rounds. I think Sean O'Malley would be good for the sport. Bad for role models in the sport, though, because, like, you're going to attract all this kind of negative attention around who Sean O'Malley is as a person, because I have a feeling skeletons are in his closet that will one day come out. I get that icky feeling. But, yeah, what do you think? Do you think he'd be good for the sport?
Yeah, that's a good question because this is something that I actually don't care about because because all I care about is seeing what the performance is like and then trying to dissect it and learn from it. But like bad for the sport, I don't really think it matters all that much because I mean
Right.
all it is just they need a title for pay-per-views and that's all that is. And I guess Sean is supposed to draw more eyes. So I guess it's
He don't.
good if he wins if it's for the UFC, but bad for the sport. Bad for the sport would be like would to fight Valentina Shevchenko. That would be
You broke up there. What you said again, Butter?
oh sorry. So bad for the sport would be like if we brought back Paige Van Zant to fight Valentina Shevchenko. That would be bad for the sport because like what are we doing there?
A giant OF thing across the mat. Oh my gosh, that'd be
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah,
Oh, it'd be
that would actually be
unbearable.
bad for the sport. But like Sean winning, like I don't really think it matters because there's going to be a lot of contenders coming up from bantamweight that are
Yeah,
interesting matchups. So I mean, who's ever at bantamweight, it's not going to like whoever wins at bantamweight. I don't think it matters because they're going to be the guy that's up there is going to be good.
right. Especially bantamweight. Bantamweight and
Yeah.
I guess welterweight right now is the other hot division.
Mhm.
Those are both like fire hot. There's not a bet. There's contenders for days. Like you
Mhm.
could do like Pantoja did in fight number 9, and it would be actually an intriguing fight.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good question from Sammy, another PYN regular. Um, what can Sean do against the fence?
I like that little hip bump thing that JDM was doing. Make him break his
Oh
hands, and
yeah.
then
Mhm.
I like that a lot, dude. I picked up on that in the fight, and I was like, "That's really cool. I like that a lot. That's super cool."
Yeah, the hip bump off the fence to get more space so he could turn off.
Yeah, he was laughing at Bilal by like the third time he did it, laughing at Bilal like you're falling for it every time, and like yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that is a good one because what's weird about Sean is I actually like his fence wrestling. It's kind of different from the meta right now because what he does is he does a lot of arm drags and he does a lot of switches to get to his arm drags.
Right,
So yeah, so I was kind of surprised that he didn't really go to those against Marab. He was more kind of going towards collar tie drags, which is the meta. But I think you're right. Use like if Marab does get him to the fence, like get hip separation right away and use that hip bump, use a shoulder strike, and then maybe get some separation, and then like beat him up in the clinch because Marab isn't great in the clinch if you haven't noticed.
no, he's not. I feel like he's kind of just overwhelming in the clinch. Like he's
Mhm.
constantly pushing his fast pace, and it's like, oh well, I can't keep up here, so I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like it seems like what Merab wants to do is just do his wrestling really hard until you get annoyed by it, right?
And he doesn't get tired. Like I was wrestling today and I was dead tired. And he just
Yeah,
does it.
which is crazy.
I just
Yeah,
don't get it,
so
dude.
yeah, oh, we got a off-topic one here. What not that. Let me see. Where is it? Is sports washing bad? Oh, that's from Jin. So from POIN. Is sports washing
I'm gonna
bad?
let you take that one first.
Okay, so I got this is probably a controversial take. It's only bad if the cards are bad. If the cards are bad, sports washing is a thing. If the
Like the
cards are
Garcia,
good,
Haney, and Lopez card.
yeah, but if it's good, I'm willing to look the other way.
Bitter Beav and Bivol was 1 and 2. That wasn't.
Um,
We don't count those as sports washing because we really, really, really wanted those fights.
Forgive me,
I-
Kareem, if you're watching this, forgive me.
yeah, I'll be real, man. Like I don't care about sports washing. Like you don't care about what's good for you. I don't care about sports washing at all. I'm finally getting cool fights, like especially in boxing, dude. As a boxing fan, like I'm getting all these great fights, and I'm like, yay, this is awesome. Where's this been for the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? Um, I don't care about it. I really do want to see like the two best fight each other. And if all we have to do is get rid of some of the past historical tragedies that other countries have committed, eh, you know, Bitter Biv and Bivol 2 was a really good fight.
Yeah, and I'm willing to pretend like none of that stuff is happening if we get more Bitter Biev and Bivol too, right?
Yeah, please, because that was beautiful. And I guess we'll see how Canelo and Crawford is. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's going to be a particularly exciting fight, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Sport
If
washing,
it is an
yeah,
exciting fight, I'm willing to pretend like that money came from the good places.
yeah, like TKO, good places.
Not from yeah.
That was,
Yeah, I
that
don't
was a
want to get
great.
I don't want to get like I don't want to get destroyed here.
I'll take the destruction for you.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
take it.
so yeah,
I'll say
yeah,
the
that
bad
looks like
thing.
it's all the questions so far. There's some coming in, but we can go over that later.
So, let's talk about this upcoming amazing UFC card that we got coming up here. Uh, we are back, boys. We are back in the warehouse, actually. Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Apex. Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. I have no problem with Macy Barber and Aaron Blanchfield being booked to fight each other. I actually think that's a relatively well matched fight. But why the 5 rounds? I feel like Jack Sparrow right now. Like, why is the rum gone? Why the 5 rounds? Why does this have to be 5 rounds? Goes, are you excited about this
Yeah.
fight?
Okay, so I actually watched Aaron Blanchfield's last performance against Manon Fiorot, and I
Helpless.
watched and I watched Barber's last performance against Caitlin Seminara. Absolutely ghastly, man. So let's talk about the matchup itself. Like I'll say the good things about each fighter and the lots of bad things about each fighter. Because there's a lot of bad things, man. So
They can't punch.
yeah, but like this being 5 rounds just doesn't make sense to me because it might like I'll throw it back to you, but it might actually be the same thing over and over again.
It's going to get very boring.
Yeah.
Mateusz Gamrot and Ludovic Klein really should have been the main event for this card. Um,
Yeah.
Gamrot always fights the level's opponent, and like Klein's a banger. But like this, there's no reason it needs to be 5 rounds. I get that it has the most implications for the division. Like that makes sense, sure. But at the same time, like I don't know if Hunter Campbell's actually watching these fights because Barber and Blanchfield are not good. The only thing I can hope for is like Blanchfield gets on top, and like if Blanchfield gets on top of Barber, like it's going to be a mauling. It's going to be a really, really gruesome like banging out because that's one thing Aaron Blanchfield's actually pretty good at, but just getting there, she's not. That said, like Macy Barber's not Manon Fiorot. She's not disciplined, and she will definitely overswing and let Blanchfield grab onto her. So, like, I mean, I kind of see Blanchfield running away with this.
Yeah. So like the funny thing about Macy Barber is I know you didn't watch this, but the Andrea Lee fight
I did
Andrea
not
Lee
watch
ducks.
that. I do know I didn't
Yeah,
watch that.
Andrea
That's like
Lee ducks down on a single leg, and Barbara just falls over. Doesn't have to go through any chains. Doesn't go to the back body lock. Doesn't try to like turn the corner and try to go with a double leg. Just awful, man. Like she goes for a single and then she just gets dumped. And then what's worse is Macy goes for a guillotine. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not a takedown defense.
that's
Oh
W.
my goodness.
That's not a takedown defense.
That is yeah, a guillotine is not like let's get that clear. Guillotines are not takedown defenses. Yeah,
Axel
and
Poirier,
oh
he
my
learned that the
god.
hard way against Benoit.
So the thing about Erin is her best takedown is the body lock. Her single legs are honestly terrible, and she doesn't chain them into anything, which is weird because you should be able to chain your single into a body lock. But for Erin to actually get her takedowns, she needs to like have her opponent overswing. And well, that's something that Barbara actually does, which is hilarious. So yeah, she needs to get her opponent to overswing, and she needs to find the like she needs to get to the side instead of like running them over, which she's
Yeah.
not actually good at doing.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
It's weird that she got such a big push. I don't understand why. Like she's a really good
Yeah.
fighter, for her division. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
why did she get the push?
So actually, this is something I want to ask you. I saw this a lot like on the forums because again, admittedly, I'm on the internet more than I should be. But like people were saying she's like 125's Tatiana Suarez.
Okay, yeah, we've seen that.
Is that something you agree with? Is that something you agree with?
Kind of actually. Now that we've seen Tatiana get mauled by Zhang Wei Li, I mean, Erin Blanchfield's not that good. She's really kind of like a body lock only type person. Very WMMA of her. Um, I don't hold her in that high regard, honestly. And like, I got to pull up the rankings because, yeah,
Yeah. So while you're doing that, I'll explain like the differences between like Suarez and Blanchfield because
okay,
like as much as people think that they're the same, they're actually like completely different when it comes to wrestling. Because Suarez is actually dangerous along the fence. Like
okay,
she'll chain her singles, and when she gets the locked hands double, you're usually going for a ride unless you don't know what you're doing. Like most of the people that like the 11 other fighters that she's fought. And
yeah,
Blanchfield is more of like she needs to get the opponent to swing. I think she's more in the mold of Carla Esparza than she is in the mold of Tatiana Suarez. Because Suarez is actually strong enough to push people to the fence, whereas Blanchfield, she needs like the perfect entry to get you down. And something that she's better than Carla Esparza at is guard passing. I think that's her best asset. Her Blanchfield's guard passing, because if you watch her versus Miranda Maverick, like she's doing a lot of windshield wiper, a lot of knee cuts into more windshield wipers, and I think she's actually like I think on the ground she's really good, but like getting people there, she's not great. Is that something you
yeah.
agree with?
I agree. So hold on, B Fatty. B Fatty said that guy has a sexy voice. B Fatty, can you? Okay, that's weird. Can you explain to me which one of us has a sexy voice? Is it me or is it Ghost? Because
It's probably you,
I'd like
Blaine.
to know. Let's see. James Kendrick, my boy James, says thoughts on Whaley versus Val, or should Whaley just fight Verna? I've grown to like Verna Jandaroba a lot. I think that would be a really fun fight, but we have to stop Valentina Shevchenko. So like Zhang Wei Li needs to go destroy her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who should she fight? I mean,
Verna
obviously
Jandaroba,
everybody wants Valentina, right?
right? Yeah, that's what everybody wants, and you want something that's good for the sport. Let's do that. But the problem is, like, we won't get Zhang Weili versus Verna Jandaroba, and I think that's a fairly intriguing fight. I don't think Verna really holds a candle to it. I think it's a more interesting fight than Zhang Weili and Valentina, if I'm being honest. Especially after what we saw from Valentina Shevchenko in the last fight. Like, she was just ghastly, even though she beat Manon Fiorot. Like, the onus was on Manon Fiorot to go out there and figure out a way to handle up what you call it, Valentina, and she couldn't. So I think Verna's a more fun fight only because I think 115 is a better division.
Okay, I will say this though about Weili versus Valentina. So if you do hate WMMA, which I'm not saying I'm not, I'm also not saying that I do like it, but if you do hate WMMA, you want Weili versus Valentina, and you want Weili to win that because if Weili does win that, we can close down both divisions after that happens.
No, because we got to keep Weili. She's good. She's actually good, and she could fight Rose Namajunas at 125 and finally get a win over Rose. Like she should
get that back. Yeah, get that back. But yeah, I mean, let's just admit it. Like Verna, like I took this from Drake Riggs, but fighting Verna, that's not a big fight. Like what? Like
no, it's not.
You put that in a co-main event, like, or I mean, it probably would headline a fight night, which is unfortunate. But yeah.
Yeah, Verna's not very marketable, man, and it's a shame because she's a quality fighter and she's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, and I'm not going to talk about like her actual fighting style because
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I enjoy her. I'm a little biased. I've interviewed her a couple times, and she was always super nice and give me the time of day to talk. So kind of like that with her. But I also think it's great. MMA fighter. I have a question. Yes, drop a question, my man.
Also, I don't like WMMA. Like, I don't like the strawweights or the flyweights.
So you like bantamweight? Jeez.
No, I don't like them either. I mean, I don't like honestly, like studying WMMA for like the past 4 years. Like, there's lack of development there, and it's honestly like horrendous. So
when Amanda Nunes retired, somebody mentioned that Ronda Rousey could come back right now and contend for a title. And I was like, what? No way. And then I was thinking about, I'm like,
I mean, look at the state of bantamweight, dude.
I'm like, Julian Raquel Pennington is the champion.
Yeah.
Over on my stream, MMA Fighter says, who wins, Islam or Ilya? What do you think about that one?
Islam, I don't know who wins that, but because obviously, I don't do predictions, but I mean, Islam is a southpaw, and Ilya has had trouble, or not trouble, but he loses his mind when he's fighting a southpaw with an active lead hand, which Islam does have. But I think this is interesting because Ilya is probably going to be the one pushing forward in that matchup, and he does hit the body a lot.
Yeah.
And Islam does not. The few times Volk did go to the body, you can tell Islam didn't like that, even though Volk did get countered there. So I think it's an interesting matchup because Islam is good at countering body shots. If you watch the first Volk fight, he's really good at countering body shots, and Ilya is not good at defending head kicks. So,
he's
not. It's not that he's not good. It's just that like when he gets caught in a long exchange, the head kick is there. I mean, he's not vulnerable to it. It's just that like if you catch him in a long exchange and you throw up the head kick, it might land, it might hurt him, and then he might pressure and then knock you out. Like he did.
So I do predictions, and I think Islam crushes Ilya. Honestly, it was a shame that Islam didn't fight him, but I get why he didn't want to. But I think Islam destroys Ilya. If you want to know honestly, I don't know. It's one of those fights we unfortunately will never have to do tape study on that as much fun as it would be. Yeah.
I mean? Here, you want me? I can put this up on our thing. We got another question.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So, what about the legend of MMA? Near lost one round. Chael Sonnen comment of Islam. You agree his comment? Not sure. What you
I'm
mean
not
there.
Doubting the great Chael P. Sonnen, undefeated, undisputed, never lost a round, baby. Come on.
No, I'm not. Do you know what this means? Because I'm not really clear on what this question means.
Islam and Chael have been going back and forth, and Chael said something to the effects of he's not taking the money fight, and Islam's like, I'm not fighting for money. That's basically the the thing about it. They've had some verbal sparring, but it's been like light verbal sparring. Like they're just laughing at each other, having fun. That's
Oh,
all there is.
okay. I
Yeah.
see. I see. All right. So unfortunately, I can't put this up, but so this is from James. Why does Chael P hate Wei Li? He said you shouldn't care about her. Dude, I don't know. Do you know this?
I didn't know
I mean,
Chael P didn't like him. Or her, I'm sorry. I didn't know Chael didn't like Zhang Wei. Why would, like, I guarantee you if Chael Sonnen met Zhang Wei, like him and her would be like the greatest couple ever. Like they'd have so much fun together. Not like couple, but like they would have so much fun. It'd be a great buddy cop movie. Can you imagine a movie with like Chael Sonnen and Zhang Wei chasing down bad guys? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't watch Chael's channel because it's just a bunch of hot takes. That's not something I'm into.
And like he acts like he's an insider, and most of the time he misses. He's like the crazy Kev of actually good analysts.
Yeah, and like, I mean, it's great that he gets reactions from people, but again, that's not the content that me and Blaine are into, at least.
Yeah, no, I like to watch the fights, and then I like to think about history of fighting. Now that's kind of my new go-to.
Okay, so here's MMA fighter again. Chael Sonnen say Islam running to Ilya.
Oh no, yeah, no, Ilya definitely is not running from or Islam's definitely not running from Ilya. You know, it's not that he's running to Jack Della Maddalena. You know, a much bigger fighter. Like Jack Della cuts down to make 170. So no, Chael would have been the greatest WWE wrestler of all time. I agree.
Okay, so Tyler from Twitter. I actually know Tyler is a follower of mine. Chael with the hot takes and rage bait. LOL. Yeah, that's about right.
Maybe.
That's about right.
He's been rage bait his entire career, though. Like, you remember that was a nasty burn by me. Like, that's all Chael Sonnen does is like burn people, man.
Yeah, and people don't understand this, but he wasn't that like interesting or exciting of a fighter if you think about it, right?
He was boring, but his mouth made up for it.
Yeah, like what's his game? Double leg, close guard, stay there for the whole round. Actually, what was interesting about Chael's game is he can go from a close guard into a double leg and stand up from there. That was cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, other than that, yeah, it's not great.
You realize Chael Sonnen's fought the GOAT in 3 divisions?
That's hilarious. John Jones, Anderson Silva. Oh, and Fedor.
And Fedor. Yeah, he's fought 3 divisional GOATs, and he's undefeated against all 3 of them, man.
Yeah,
I'm totally down with the Chael undefeated memes, dude. Like, I think this is the funniest thing ever.
All right, so here's a question from James again. Do you think Verna is just like Suarez? All right, you go here first. You go here first.
I think Verna's a lot more like Suarez than Aaron Blanchfield is.
Yeah, but okay, again, I'm not going to give anything away, but Verna's takedowns aren't great.
No, they're not. But when she gets there, she's like hellacious.
I will say that. How do I say this without giving anything away? I will say that Verna's striking isn't great either. And the stuff that Yan Xiaonan did in the first round, if she was disciplined with, that fight could have went differently. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you at that one.
It's kind of hard for me because I like to, I like to go into specifics, and it's more interesting when you go into specifics. But yeah, I'm not going to go into specifics on that one.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a really good question, dude, over here. Tyler.
Is it the Tyler one? Yeah, here, let me bring it up.
Yeah, bring that up. Who at welterweight is Islam's hardest fight outside of Jack Della? I like that. Let me get your take first on that one. I'm pulling up the rankings.
Ooh, that is a good question.
That's a really good question.
Dude, you know what I would like to see? Like Islam versus Shavkat.
Yeah, that's a really fun fight. But I think Islam thrives on Shavkat, actually. I've been thinking about it a lot. Jack Slack mentioned this a couple times on his podcast. Who's Islam's #1 training partner?
Khabib.
What does Shavkat like to do? He likes to press you into the fence just like Khabib. I think that's a perfect spot for Islam to have a good fight.
But okay, to play devil's advocate a little bit, Islam is also, or Shavkat is also good when his back is against the fence.
Yeah, that's true.
So what makes it really interesting is that both are great in the clinch. I mean, obviously both are different, but both are like really savvy and defensively minded in the clinch. So we're gonna see a lot of cool things within that range of fighting.
And you're gonna get a lot of boos too, though,
Yeah, I mean,
because
I'll
it
be
gets the
excited
clinch.
for it because we'll see
Man,
some
this is a
cool
really,
technique.
really a deep one. But like, I think Ian Machado Gary would be a really, really tough task for.
Oh,
I think he'd
for
be real because
Islam.
he's really good at avoiding the takedown and stuff. And we saw him against a similar grappler in Shavkat. I think that's a tantalizing fight. I used to say Leon Edwards, but Leon just kind of is just out to dry now. I think obviously Jack Della I think is the best fight for him, but I think Ian Gary would really really do well like picking him at range and making it a very boring fight. And then the Irish faithful would like go absolutely insane over Ian Gary beating the protege of Khabib. Like that would be the biggest story. And I think Gary can rise to the occasion. He's really come a long way in his mental state too, I think, in recent years.
Yeah, I think Ian Gary would be a good matchup just because of the game planning. Because as much as everybody likes to clown on Ian Gary, we do have to admit that his game planning has been good.
Yeah,
Which
very
I
good.
know people don't. I know people want to just think he's like a joker, but his game planning has been good, and we got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, he's a good fighter, man. What do you think
Yeah.
about a Sean Brady matchup?
Ooh, Sean Brady match. So that would be. So that would. I think that's interesting because Sean Brady needs to be the one on offense. Oh, hold on. Let me
Yeah,
plug my computer in. Yeah, Sean Brady needs to be the one on offense. He needs to be the one pushing to the fence, which kind of plays into what Islam does. Again, and the thing you also have to consider is that Bilal also boxed up Sean Brady just by throwing 1-2s at him. So
yeah.
there's that.
And how does Sean Brady react to a southpaw? Like
Oh, we saw that with Leon.
oh, was that with okay? Yeah, but no,
Yeah, we saw that with
I still
Leon.
don't know if that's enough to tell us how good he is against southpaw.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but just getting in his. I mean, Islam does like he likes to be the one doing the open side kicking,
How
and
about I
he
said that
does
open side
have
kick
like
would probably eat him alive.
with Islam.
Yeah,
So
Islam
with
like it
Brady and
would eat
Islam,
Brady alive. I feel like
yeah, I don't know. I guess.
that's a
Well, yeah, I don't do predictions, so
yeah.
yeah, that I think that's what makes that one interesting is that Brady versus the open side kick, and Islam like he doesn't pressure a lot, so Brady's gonna be able to like force his game on him. But
Yeah.
then again, Islam is also good at like what we said earlier. He's also good at defending along the fence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really interesting fight. Gary's the most interesting one, but like it's the easiest to think about. It's like, what's Gary gonna do to game plan away from what Islam wants to do? But like when it comes to like Sean Brady has to go through the fire, like of Dagestani wrestling to beat Islam because he's not gonna outbox Islam Makhachev, I don't think. And if he starts to, Islam will go to a ground game and Sean Brady off his back. It's not inspiring, but it's okay. Another cross divisional fight. How dumb of a fight would Jack Della versus Drickus be?
Oh, that'd be horrible.
It'd be a
I mean,
brain
I
dead
think
fight,
that
wouldn't
would
it? I'd love it.
that would be a step back, dude. Why are we going? That
That's
would be
bad
a
for the
step back.
sport. That's
Yeah, that
bad
would
for
be a
the
step back. That's like when remember when Colby was saying if he beats Leon, he'll go up to 185 and then beat whoever the champion is there.
Izzy. It was
I think
Izzy.
that's similar territory where if JDM goes up to Drickus, I think we're back to like the 1800s, man.
It's such a dumb fight. I love it. I want it to happen because you know what's gonna happen. Like Jack Dell's gonna have this great, beautiful game plan. He's gonna, exit an angle and stuff, and then Drickus is gonna catch a big bonk and and drag him to the ground.
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna know how to react because he's the best trash talker in MMA right now. Drickus is, and he just beats fighters nobody wants him to beat. Like he's gonna beat Hamzat Chimaev, dude, and everybody's gonna be so upset about it because it's gonna be the worst fight ever.
That would be hilarious. So let's get back to this JDM. Let's get back to this Islam hardest fight outside of JDM. Leon before Usman 2. I think that would have been interesting because Leon before Usman 2, because that was before
Leon that showed up against Usman.
Yeah, because
the one that showed up in that second
Leon
Usman
is
like he was perfect.
Because I think that's an intriguing stylistic matchup because you're looking at a guy who's really good at defending clinches along the fence and a guy who's really good at using clinch offense and also good at clinch defense, because that's something that Leon's really good at, clinch defense. But like when he was battering Donald Cerrone and RDA, I mean, those aren't great names against Islam, but those types of like getting hip separation, using that overhook pry with the far side bicep tie and then getting knees off. I think that would be interesting against Islam because Islam likes the double collar tie.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get that against Leon.
I also think the fact that Leon's a southpaw too really plays into his advantage. Because, I mean, Poirier, he's a good fighter, but he had no business being in as much of the dogfight as he was with Islam. I think a lot of it had to do with how good Dustin Poirier is, but I also think that you took away Islam's number one weapon, the open side body kick, and Dustin was just kind of turning into it, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I watched that one. I can't take that much heartache.
I think that the southpaw dynamic is interesting too because Leon averages like what, a strike per minute, and Islam, when he is fighting a southpaw, he's able to use his lead hand a lot more, like we saw with Dustin Poirier, and we'll see a lot more volume coming from Islam. So that's another thing to look at, right?
Yeah, I do too. I think Islam would be more prone to lead.
Yeah, so let's pull this one up. Who is pound for pound king?
Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah. Francisco Trinaldo. Okay, so like if you don't know the meme, I personally don't like talking about pound for pound or GOAT.
It's fun. It can be fun. But yeah, it really is more of a popularity contest. It's obviously Islam. I feel like Islam's the best case for it. He's got 2 wins over a top pound for pound fighter. It's one of those questions that's like pound for pound king, like in boxing. Like you could say, okay, Canelo's the best. Okay, well I can understand that. Or Terrence Crawford, you can make a really good argument. Usyk, you can make a great argument for Usyk. What about Inoue? You can make another argument for him too. Like everybody has their case, and Inoue's done things that Crawford hasn't done, and Crawford's done things that all of them haven't done. Same thing in MMA, like Islam really is like anyone, anytime, anywhere. That's kind of what a pound for pound guy is. And now he's going up fighting above a weight class. I don't hate it, and I don't mind him being the top. But as far as like defending it with like a flaming sword, like, no, Islam's not pound for pound, John Jones is, and it's like, no, that's that's not what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
here's the thing about like pound for pound for me. The reason I don't care about it is because what you're going to do in conversations is you're just going to pick apart each person's resume, try to find what's wrong with it, amplify it, and then use that to downgrade the guy that you don't like, if you get what I'm saying. And
exactly.
Honestly, that's like, there's honestly better things to do than do that.
Yeah, this is the type of content you're into too. Like it matters a little bit more to me because I'm like I said, I'm starting to get into more like fighting history and stuff, and that kind of has something to do with who you would pay attention to and stuff. But it like as far as like right now, who it is, no, it doesn't matter. Like I know a lot of people like to crap on John Jones, but like he's been through like 4 generations of fighters. Like that's really the kind of pound for pound debate I want to have. Like, overall. And I know that's not your wheelhouse either, Ghost. It's more GOAT debate, but like I really like that kind of looking back on it. Like Roberto Duran was probably the best boxer of all time, or Julio Cesar Chavez, one of those two. But like as like if you're going through it, like right now, who's the best pound for pound? Like, man, we don't know because we don't know where their career is at. You know, I'm more of a retrospective type look at fighters.
Yeah, but even like if you think about it, even if we're talking about like boxing, like you mentioned Roberto Duran, like obviously there's great things that he did in his career. There's also bad things that he did in his career. Like
Like fight
I
Sugar
don't see
Ray
the
the
point
second
why
time. It was horrible.
I just don't understand like what's the point of like comparing that with somebody else, right? Like both like say like if we compare that with Sugar Ray, like both have done great things in their career. Why can't we just celebrate both of them? Does one
Exactly.
have to be better than the other?
But I also think the fact that you can put a big testament to what Roberto Duran did is what makes Sugar Ray story even better. Like that's what made the Ali, Frazier, and Foreman rivalry so great because like Joe Frazier had beaten Muhammad Ali. Now we know that's not the right Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was just not ready for it. But like we know how great Ali was. He beat Sonny Liston. He beat Floyd Patterson. He was incredible. And then Joe Frazier like beats him. And then oh wow, Joe Frazier's incredible. And then comes George Foreman and just blows through him in 2 rounds. And you're like, oh, this guy's different. So I think these not debates, but like this recognizing of their level of skill overall is really good from a historical point of view and giving you context of how good someone is. Because like you could look at Floyd Patterson and be like, oh, he lost to who? Ingemar Johansson? Like, okay. But like that doesn't tell you like, oh, Ingemar beat him, but also Floyd Patterson put a whooping on him the next 2 fights they fought. But again, that's from somebody who likes learning about the history of fighting too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're right. The historical thing is it's just for me. It's just like ranking people. I hate ranking people, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
putting a number next to somebody's name, and like it's all subjective to me. But I think you're definitely right about like when you're looking back to history, like you mentioned, like this guy beat that guy beat this guy, and understanding the context of that division, that makes it a lot
right,
more. That makes the conversation way more interesting, right?
right.
And if we
And
just
you'll not
removed
look
like
at
the
like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's the
right,
conversation gets even better, right?
right. So you can look at the first how many title defenses did Ronda Rousey have? Like 8 or something like that.
Six,
6. You can look at
six.
her 6 title defenses, and then you can look at Amanda Nunes's title defenses. And if you're like just saying, oh well, like this that, they're if you look at their 6 in a bubble, you're like, oh, they're the same fighter. But no, like that doesn't show you that Nunes beat the best fighters in women's MMA history. At one point in time, well, actually, no, she's beaten every champion in her division. Like there's not a champion she hadn't beat. And I have a feeling like Kayla Harrison will be the first that she won't have beaten. But it's important to remember how great they are because you know where to go with the sport. You can build off of what they did because like Ali changed boxing. Jack Dempsey changes boxing. Even back like Jim Mace in like the 1850s changed how boxing was viewed because it was like, oh, well, we have an England champion, we have an American champion. What if they fight? Now we have a world champion. Like that's where world championship boxing came from. That kind of stuff I find intriguing at least. But
Mm-hmm.
you're right. Like just sitting there ranking fighters like, oh, Islam's good, but he wasn't quite as good as Khabib because he got knocked out. But he did fight the number 1 pound for pound guy, but he never fought Conor McGregor. Like, man, whatever. I don't care. He looked great against Volkanovski, and that first Volkanovski fight is probably the best fight I've ever seen, just from a technical base. So, like, that's what I'm here for.
So I actually like wrote a long question for Drake Briggs about this, but I'll give you like the shorter version, and I think this will actually be interesting because again, you look at you're more interested in like who's great during each
Mm-hmm.
generation and why. So here's my thing. So like, what do you think of like somebody that's defended and beat like a single opponent multiple times, like say Alexander Volkanovski?
Yeah.
He has 5 title defenses, right? he's
Three of them
beaten.
are, two of
Yeah,
them
he's
are max.
beaten. Yeah, yeah. So two of them are max, and the first one he won it off max. Like 5 title defenses, right? How do you
Yeah.
compare that? Like how do you like value that as like as a pundit that you are versus somebody who's defended against multiple different styles? Like,
Well, it's
is
super.
that something that you hold it against them, or is
No,
it
well,
something that?
in Volkanovski's case, I do. But like you look at Muhammad Ali beating Joe Frazier twice. They had to fight 3 times. That's the greatest rivalry in all boxing. Um, but it would have been great to not have that third max fight, even though like that was one of the quintessential Volkanovski performances. That third max when he was just screaming, "You're too slow." But like the different styles of opponents that really does come into MMA, because that's one of Khabib's things. Like he never fought a jiu-jitsu guy. Like that's what everybody was saying. He's never fought anybody with good jiu-jitsu. He'd probably lose to that. Like Oliveira would probably beat him. And like we saw Islam, who's a different fighter, but from the same vein, from the Abdul Manap school of wrestling. No, he wouldn't have, and Khabib probably would have made him quit. So that's a lot bigger in MMA, and honestly, MMA just doesn't have the history for the longevity of history that boxing has to kind of have those arguments just yet. We're still finding out that wrestling is better than all of the other disciplines to have, and also being really good shape and good cardio, being an actual athlete is important too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think that's something that's interesting, right? Is it better to have multiple defenses against different styles, or is it better to have multiple defenses against multiple of the same people, right?
Who's greater in your opinion? Now, obviously, I know this isn't your wheelhouse, but who's greater in your opinion? Is it Islam Makhachev or is it Demetrius Johnson?
Well, I don't know. No, I really don't know.
Who has the better legacy?
The better legacy?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking about it, the lightweight division is the better division historically.
But he hadn't
like
fought
you're gonna
the
hold
best at
more
lightweight.
weight. Yeah, that's true. He hasn't fought the best at lightweight.
He fought
But
featherweight.
Demetrius Johnson also Demetrius Johnson, while as skilled as he was, I mean, like
He's fighting Ray
fighting
Borg.
against John Moraga.
Yeah.
He's fighting against John Moraga in his so there's that.
Yes, but I value that a lot more than what Islam's done. Now, obviously, I think Islam will go on to have an incredible legacy of his own. I think he's got 3 more fights, and they'll be the most important fights of his career. But when it comes to like terms of legacy, it's kind of like one of those things. Is like let's see how it shakes out. Because looking at people's legacy now, it's great to be in the middle of it. Like I've been watching Canelo since I started watching boxing, and it's crazy to watch his fall off because he's fallen off. But also he's got this mega legacy fight coming up that would be kind of a redemption from his Floyd Mayweather loss. His only loss that actually matters, because I don't think the Bivol fight matters. And if he could beat like a Terrence Crawford, which I think he can, that would be an incredible moment. But it's fun to live it. But I'm finding more recently it's fun to learn about like Wilfred Benitez, who was like the youngest champion ever. He won like a world title at 17. Like what?
Wouldn't it be better if? But honestly, like, wouldn't it be better if we talked about like what you did in your division at the time?
Yeah,
that's more important than it is to rank somebody's greatness, right?
Right, exactly. Like Muhammad Ali's great, Jack Dempsey's great, Alexander Usyk's great. I don't really like everybody. Who's your top 5 pound for pound heavyweights ever? I'm like, I don't know. They're different every time. Yeah. So it just depends on how I'm feeling. Like I don't care. Like all I didn't know is I saw Usyk bring the title back home to Ukraine after Tyson Fury, took it from the Klitschko. Like that's a big deal. Like that's an amazing story. But also it was like really good boxing in the process. Like it was beautiful boxing in the process, both of the fights.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. Like different eras. Like you said, like in this era for heavyweight boxing, like you've got some really good fighters with Usyk, and Usyk could be like one of those generational talents, right?
Right.
Yeah. So like, yeah. Go ahead.
The basketball has this problem all the time. They're always like, "Who's the GOAT in basketball? Is it Michael Jordan or is it LeBron?" I'm like,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't because they never played each other. But like, I like to make the old people mad and say LeBron's absolutely by far the greatest. But you look. My wife just said Michael Jordan. But you look at them and like the way of playing basketball is different. The way of fighting is different now.
And the thing that's different
Boxing has
about
changed over the
basketball,
years.
yeah, and the thing about basketball, it's a team game. Like
Yeah,
it's more important that the team the team you're on wins.
yeah.
Like individual accolades, not that important. Like I guess they're important for barbershop talks, but individual accolades, like in the context of a team, like isn't that more important?
Yeah, I think so. But also, like, this goes into my whole. I know we don't talk GOAT, but like GOAT debate, like the whole Anderson Silva losing 7 fights at the end of his career in a row, like that. People are like, that doesn't count. I'm like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because if you're
Yep.
putting your legacy on the line and continuing to go out there and fight, those fights count just as much as when he's fighting Vitor Belfort and kicking him in the face, or when he's triangling Chael Sonnen. Those fights matter just as much because that's your entire body of work. And a lot of people don't like hearing that. Like BJ Penn was great and he had an amazing peak. Cain Velasquez was great. He had an amazing peak. But ultimately, like BJ Penn petered out and had the worst losing streak, or Tony Ferguson had the worst losing streak in UFC history. And those fights matter.
Well, yeah, they matter to you, but like to me, all I care about are performances,
Yeah.
right? I like to study performances when people are at their best.
Yeah,
So
I
guess
agree with that
it's
now.
the difference of like what we like, right?
Well, but I also can appreciate the fact of what Anderson Silva did accomplish, or how hellacious Cain Velasquez was. Like Cain was an amazing heavyweight, and I don't think the Cain Velasquez that absolutely went out there and mauled Junior Dos Santos, not a heavyweight in history would have beat him ever on
Well,
that
you don't
night.
know that.
Oh, you watch that fight. Junior Dos Santos had nothing
No,
to
but
do
you
with
don't
it.
know
But,
that because you can't test it, right?
well,
I'm
yeah,
saying
but
it like
like,
facetiously. Yeah.
but
I'm saying
like,
it
yeah, like
facetiously, obviously.
I'm using it as more of a subjective term, more like nobody. He was the greatest that night. Like the night that Mike Tyson fought Michael Spinks, like that was the greatest performance in heavyweight history.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not your
Yeah,
conversation. I know you don't like
that's
it. I
not
know
the
it's hurting you.
conversation I take. Yeah, I don't like to take part in that just because, like, it's so or lots of stuff we do is subjective. It's just that this just
Yeah.
doesn't interest me because,
Oh,
like, it goes nowhere.
it's pure speculation. Yeah, we can sit here and talk
Yeah.
about it all night.
Mhm.
But my man, I'm exhausted.
Mhm.
It's been a long day.
Yeah. Oh, here,
Yeah, and I
let's
got a
answer one
boogie.
more. Let's answer
Yes,
one
come
more
on.
question. Yeah, just last one. Ghost, why are you an MMA anarchist? All right, this one's pretty easy. I'm an MMA anarchist because I like to have fun. I like to see chaos happen in the cage, and I like to see chaos happen when people don't like to get what they want. Because there's a lot of purists out there in the MMA media sphere that say, "Oh, this person deserves this person deserves that." But how about we just let things play out and just laugh along the way? Because
I
honestly,
wanted
let's
Colby
be
Covington to be a champion so bad
let's be that would have been funny, but
because the
let's be
world would
honest.
have
Like
imploded.
this sport is extremely silly. Why why should we why are we taking it seriously? Right?
Exactly. It's for fun. We're watching it for fun.
Yeah. All right, and then Rio, don't want to leave you hanging. This one's probably for Blaine. Quick question: would Whaley defeat Verna easily, though? Oh,
Would
that was for
Whaley
Remy,
defeat?
but
Yeah,
Verna
Jane Willie
easily,
would run through Verna.
like
Um,
more than Suarez and Lemos.
it'd probably be about that bad. It'd probably be about that bad.
Okay, I think from there, I think we can close this. Think we can close this show out.
Well, Ghost, where can everybody find your stuff, man? Where are you posting stuff nowadays?
Yeah, so all my animations, all on YouTube, Phantom Punch breakdowns. Just type that in, no spaces. And then, but if you want like my extra good stuff, it's phantompunchbreakdowns.substack.com. I post like all my detailed articles. You'll find my tactical toolbox, my post-fight studies, some fight notes there that lot more than what you'll see on my YouTube. So yeah, check out the Substack, and you can actually sign up for free. It's just that if you pledge your support for $5 a month, you'll get even more content. You'll get access to the execution series and every single thing in my library, which has like over 200 pieces of content. What about you?
Beautiful, and I can attest to the amount of quality that Ghost puts into his work, and it's all fantastic. It's never bad. So that's something you want to sign up for.
And what about you, Blaine? You want to plug your stuff?
Mainly YouTube is where I'm usually at. Blaine Henry TFL, that stands for the Fight Library. My series, my baby, is Fight Finders. It's where I go and do a documentary on different types of fighting styles and different fighter stories. I've got 6 episodes out so far. And I'm filming episode 7 with an Olympic karateka as he goes to the U.S. Nationals in Dallas coming up in a couple months, and that's going to be really fun. So I'm excited to start on that one.
All right. And with that note, we will say goodbye until the next time. Yeah.
Till next
Peace
time.
out.
Later, guys.